Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the differences between lever and pedal harps. I feel like the biggest noticeable difference between lever and pedal harps would be their size. Pedal harps tend to be a lot bigger than lever harps, and the biggest factor that goes into this would be the number of strings that they have, and we will be talking about strings a little bit more in depth later in the video. There are lever harps that are very close to the size of pedal harps or even the size of semi-grand pedal harps. I don't really see the need for lever harps to be the same size as pedal harps because of the mechanism to change their pitch, and that is the next difference between the harps. This is going to be the biggest difference with how they are made, and that is the mechanism to change their pitch. So for pedal harps, how you change pitch or how you change a C to a C sharp or a B to a B flat is that there are pedals located at the base of the harp, and you move them with your feet to obtain the pitch that you want for the certain string. So there are 7 pedals for the 7 notes. And when you activate one pedal for say C, if you activate the C pedal, you're going to change all of the C's on the harp. Now the cool thing about having pedals is that you can play with both of your hands and pedal at the same time, which means that you can play very difficult pieces. You can be playing a fast run and changing accidentals and things like that, which is really, really cool. And this is why pedal harps are used in orchestral settings, because there are a lot of differing key signatures and there are a lot of accidentals. With lever harps, you change the pitch by changing the lever. You either put the lever up or down. And because the levers are on the neck of the harp, that means that you have to have a break in your left hand in the music so that you can change maybe 1 lever, 2, it doesn't matter how many, but you have to have a long enough break that you can change all of those levers. The nice thing about lever harps is that their strings are a lot lighter, so you can play a lot of Celtic music or reels or jigs, and you can play very, very quickly because the strings are not as hard to pluck. However, again, you have to have a break in your left hand to change any levers. So that means that you can't be playing with both hands and changing levers at the same time. If you'll notice, there are only 2 settings for the levers, up or down. And this means that you can only obtain 2 pitches for each string depending on how you tune it. So what this means is, say if I took the E string and I tuned it to an E flat, when the lever is not activated or when the lever is down, then that E would be E flat. If I put it up, then it would be E natural. Or if I tuned an F to F natural, when the lever is down or not activated, then the F string would be F natural, and if I put it up, it would be F sharp. So this means that if you were playing a couple different pieces, in the first piece you needed an F natural, an F sharp, but then in the last piece you needed an F flat, then you would have to retune that string. The nice thing about levers is that when you activate one, you don't activate all of them, you just activate that string. So one time I was playing a piece and it only needed one it was one A sharp in the entire piece. It was just like the singular A. And the nice thing was that I just put that lever up and I didn't have to worry about it. But if I had played it with a pedal harp, then every A that was not sharp, I would have had to move a pedal. And then that A that was sharp, I would have to move the pedal again, I would have to sharp it. So it can kind of get confusing when you don't see a harp and when you're trying to think about this all in your head. But when you start playing it and start incorporating these elements in your performing, then it will become a lot less confusing. So let's talk about the number of strings. Pedal harps have typically a lot more strings than lever harps. My lever harp has 34 strings, and that pretty much suits my needs for my lever harp. My pedal harp, however, has 47 strings. And 47 strings is basically the max strings that you can have on a harp, and that is called a concert grand. Semi-grand pedal harps, again, usually have fewer strings, and they're usually smaller. Petite pedal harps have about 40 strings, which is really nice because those are the smallest pedal harps you can get, and if you just want a harp that you can carry around easily, you can do a lot of performing with, that's really nice. However, with orchestral positions, you have to have a concert grand pedal harp. Okay, so I know I'm saying all of these are big differences, but there is a really big difference between these harps in the music that you can play. So classical music is usually played on the pedal harp, and this is because the key signatures vary a lot, and there are usually a ton of accidental sharps or flats or even naturals that you have to account for when you're playing the piece. And classical music can be slow, but a lot of times for harpists there are really fast runs, or there are a lot of blocked chords that have different accidentals in them. So you typically want a pedal harp when you're playing classical music so that you can be playing with both hands while pedaling. So Irish and Celtic music, I kind of already talked about this a little bit, but that is typically played on a lower harp because of the reason that I gave, that the strings have less weight in them. They're not pulled as tight, and so you can go pretty fast on them. Music, I would say, would go either way. There are a lot of accidentals in jazz music, so I would recommend a pedal harp. For pop music, again, this would go either way. I would again suggest pedal harp because of varying key signatures and accidentals like that. But for all of these, there are exceptions. You can play some classical music on the lever harp, and you can play some Celtic music on the pedal harp. There are exceptions for all of it, all of the music genres, which is why if it's something that you really enjoy, then when you get into the right position, it's always good to have one of each harp. But I know that that can be a lot financially and a lot of space taken up, so it's not always a thing that you want to do right away. Our final difference between the lever and the pedal harp is kind of sad. It's kind of reality knocking on the door, and that is the price. Pedal harps are extremely expensive, unfortunately. Lever harps, in my opinion, are still extremely expensive, but they're a lot less expensive compared to pedal harps. Lever harps range from anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000. You can find used lever harps. I'm sure you can find used lever harps for less than that. You could also find lap lever harps where they're like literally so small they can fit in your lap, and you can play that. They also have something called a therapy harp, which is just a little lever harp. It's like maybe that big, and it straps to you, and that's really good for like nursing home playing or hospital playing. But that again is probably, I saw one for $2,500. Then pedal harps range from anywhere from like $15,000 to however much you're willing to spend. I have played a $27,000 harp, and I've also played a $55,000 pedal harp. It was like covered in gold and everything, but yeah, they're very expensive. However, you can find used ones. You can find a lot of different discounts if you just really search around. So that is usually the biggest factor in someone getting their harp, because of course everyone would want like a pedal harp that is covered in gold and is brand new, shipped from France. However, that's going to be extremely expensive, and not a lot of people can afford that. We couldn't when we started out with finding my first harp. 3 places I would recommend getting harps from would be the Atlanta Harp Center, the Virginia Harp Center, and Vanderbilt Harp Center, I believe. I'm gonna put what it is actually. I believe it's Vanderbilt Harp Center. But we have had great service from all of those. Actually, Atlanta and Virginia Harp Center, they are sister companies. And we have just had great service from all three of these companies. Actually, Vanderbilt is where I got my pedal harp, and we had amazing service with them. So I would suggest checking them out. They have a lot of used harps that you can take a look at. They also have electric harps. There are electric lever and pedal harps, but there are also electric lever harps that like strap to your body. And this is really good for street performing and everything like that. So if you want to go and, just like put out a hat and perform a lot, like if that's what you're passionate about, or if you just, maybe you're going to perform at different events, but you still want to strap it to you. Even like beach performing would be really good with the lever harp. I wouldn't take any harp out on a beach unless it was strapped to my body, because I would not want it in the sand or in the water. And even with that, I would be extremely careful with how I handled it. So yeah, I hope that was helpful, guys. If you are looking on getting your first harp and you have no idea what I've been talking about the entire time with accidentals and key signatures, maybe you're new to music, then I would suggest you stay tuned on this channel, because next week I'm going to be posting a video on how to pick out the perfect harp for you. And this is going to be really just deciding if you want a lever or a pedal harp, but I would suggest that you guys take a look at it. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that this clarified anything and any questions or anything that you had. See you guys next time. Bye.